All right, welcome. Salaam alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Sunny Medinah podcast, broadcast, audio stream, whatever we're calling it these days. I'm your host, Taj. I just want to welcome you. This might be, I'm not sure what I'm going to call this one here. Title wise, I guess it'll come to me, inshallah. Welcome to the podcast, welcome to the broadcast. It's all about Islam. It's all about growth in Islam. It's all about the Ummah and spreading goodness of the Ummah, spreading goodness to the Ummah. By no means am I a scholar or imam or anything like that. I'm just a humble student of Islam, humble servant of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm here to, grow. This is how we grow. So today I want to talk about something that's been kind of on my mind lately. Talking with my dad a lot. Thankful for him and on my journey. Talking about technology in Islam, right? Talking about technology in Islam. Talking about the pros and the cons of technology in Islam, actually. Because we live in a time where information is everywhere, right? Information is in abundance, right? It was a time, you would take your shahada and the group of people in your circle, the immediate people in your ummah, your sahabas, the people around you, you might trade books with brothers or sisters, right? And you guys exchange information when you see each other. Then you leave, you go read a book. You kind of lock in with the book, right? Whether it's a hadith book, whether it's Quran, whether it's a book on, jurisprudence, however it plays out for you, you usually do it like that. Then you get back into the cipher, whether it be on Jumu'ah on Friday or whatever day, the crew kind of links up to build a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Usually, other than the cipher, usually it's like an imam or some type of scholar or leader in the community where you're at. And you could plug in with that person for reference points during the way. Oh, yo, assalamu alaikum, brother. I was just reading this and that. Could you clarify it for me, right? And that's usually how information was spread prior to the technology age that we're in. And I think that was solid because if you think about it, this is how Quran was passed down, and this is how it was moved along throughout the years, the word of mouth, through, like my dad says, you had to sit knee to knee with your teacher, and they could look into your face, and they could, watch your verbiage as it comes out your mouth, and as you learn, the fundamentals of Arabic, they could see where your mistakes are and see where you need to roll an R or, come from the back of your throat when pronouncing something. And these things were vital, and then we come into the information age, and now you don't have to just go home with that book. You can actually go down a rabbit hole, so to speak, of information, a plethora of information. You almost get information that you're not even asking for, because you know how it is nowadays with the internet. You click on something, or you go to something, and then you go to another site, and they got the cookies and your information, and now they're showing you stuff that you saw before. You could have been looking at a shirt or a pair of sneakers, and then now you go to the next site, and they're showing you that same pair of sneakers there as well. So it's an information age, and they kind of push it down your throat. But in the information age becomes a disconnect. Everybody's well connected, but it becomes a disconnect. Taj, what do you mean by disconnect? It becomes a disconnect because sometimes over information can be too much, right? Like if you put too much lube on something, on an engine, on a wheel or something, it becomes too much, right? You want to moisturize your skin, but if you put on too much, it can become too much, right? Like when somebody is new and they're learning, too much information coming from 5 different directions. And when I say directions now, it's like you're almost getting 5 different bits of information from quote unquote 5 different teachers, right? Your YouTube teacher, your TikTok teacher, the online site that you found that teacher, and you know, uh, as you move through this thing called Islam, you start reading about and things about people that have different schools of thought. We're gonna get into that at another time. Maybe I might spin back on that in this broadcast because the term schools of thought always the kinds of sit with me. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Excuse me. So, you get into these things and you don't know where they're coming from. And now it's just information. Well, this person said you should hold your hands like this, but this person said you should hold your hand like that, but this person. So it becomes a little confusing, even though we have hadith, right? We have the ways of Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we have things that have been passed on before this, right? I once read that, and someone, a wise person recently just told me this as well, that we are coming up on the last days, right? We're in the last days, right? We're embarking on the last days. And in the last days, the truth will sound like lies and the lies will sound like truth. So if somebody new, you don't know what to decipher and you happen to run with something that's a little bit off. Like I said, I'm no scholar. I can't speak about somebody being off or what's right and what's wrong. I'm trying to perfect my salah every day. I'm trying to perfect, if nothing else, I want to perfect my salah every day. I can't be a perfect person because I wasn't born to be a perfect person. None of us are perfect. I understand that. That's all Allah's will. But I want to perfect my salah. And I'm blessed, like I said, to have solid people around me. My dad, I'm seeing a few great minds around me that I can actually talk to without going online. But then I talk to people often and they get stuff online. I'm like, where did you get that from? And they're like, oh, nah, this is the way. And you don't got to do this, or you have to do that, or you shouldn't do this, or you shouldn't do that, or you should. First of all, Allah makes it easy for us. Let me say that again. Allah makes it easy for us, right? We get complicated. I guess that's part of the imperfections of us, right? And then He gave us the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was infallible with this thing called Islam. He wasn't a perfect man, but he was perfect in Islam. When it came to this thing called Islam, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a perfect man. He was a walking Quran. So we have the greatest of examples to follow without following man that came after him. We have hadith. We have the Quran. So when it comes to this information days, man, it's definitely, it's great that, we could have Quran on our phone within an app, and then we could read it any place, at any time, without actually touching physical pages, because some of us work in spaces that you might not be able to be in a state of wudu to open up Quran while you work. But with the app, you could kind of get to it. Maybe you should still be making wudu, get into the app as well. It's good to be able to put into Google, Sahih Muslim, Bukhari, one of the hadith publications, and pull up a specific hadith section that you want, whether it's on greeting your fellow brother or sister, whether it's on salah, whether it's on dua, whether it's on hadiths on Hajj, whether it's hadiths on, zakat. There's so many hadiths, and you could be able to pinpoint it. So that's the good side of it. But I definitely wanted to get on here and say to everybody, just to be careful, because with all this technology, sometimes you can get lost in it, and just like with the technology, and be careful with the technology as far as where you're going and what you're doing, right? A lot of us on Instagram, a lot of us are on TikTok. Not only are these rabbit holes for bad information, you know, it's only right that I kind of warn people or advise people, or I don't want to advise anybody. I'm no advisor, but kind of speak on the other rabbit holes that social media could take us down, and going down these spaces could take us down. Just be careful. Brothers, keep your gaze low. Sometimes, scrolling through Instagram, they know the algorithm knows it's a dude between the age of 25 and 32. Let's just say, yeah, you know what? This guy might want to see some buns. This guy might want to see some flesh. You know what I mean? We're gonna just give it to him. So try to keep your algorithm halal as best as possible. Try to keep your intentions pure. So when these things come up, you know what I mean, it's no fault of your own. And I just wanted to give that little tidbit on technology versus the actual book of studies and reading, and sitting in the masjid and reading, sitting at home and reading. I hope we all make it to Ramadan. I hope everybody has a healthy and successful Ramadan, a journey to Ramadan. I'm going to close this out because this is not meant to be a podcast that you listen to for the hour or two. It's just me wanting to drop a few jewels, and wherever it reaches, it reaches. I'm thankful for whoever tapped in. If there's anything that you might have heard in this broadcast or this podcast that was off, always hit me up with an email. Let me know. Let's talk about it. If it was something I should have spoke about more, please remind me. You know what I mean? Blame my mind, not my heart. I'm just a human. All right. I hope everybody is well. Until next time, assalamu alaikum.